And so to me, I think more than ever, we need more artists being confident in their voice and who in their instincts and their experience. Because I think that's when you're going to get original stuff.
Welcome to the Red, Green, Blue podcast.
All right, I'm here with Aaron Sorensen, who is a VFX mastermind, has an extremely successful YouTube channel doing tutorials on it, but he's also creative director at Pattern, which is a software company here locally. But he's also worked for The Void, which was a Disney interactive virtual reality experience, which was really innovative. And we're going to talk about that. And I'm just really, and also we're going to talk about AI and VFX, which there are very few people who is qualified to talk about that as him. So first of all, let's talk about what got you into this line of work of VFX.
So, I mean, for me, it started as a kid. I mean, I think a lot of people, like, they get into creative. It's always like we're always doing it.
You just didn't stop.
Yeah, I just didn't stop.
Yeah.
And I was doing, so I had like iMovie. My dad studied film for a bit, and he loved doing filmmaking stuff. And then I started making my own little films with my friends, but I wanted to do like lightsabers and powers and stuff. So I would go into like whatever software, and I would export every single frame out, bring it into Photoshop, frame by frame, paint on frames just so I could create VFX. I was like desperate, to create something cool.
Yeah.
So it started off with just like doing stop motion, like figuring out how to use software. And then I did it forever. I was the kid in the neighborhood that's like, everyone's an actor now. Everyone's going to be in my videos. And then I just made videos all through like elementary, junior high, high school. And it turned into a career. It just has always been what I've done.
And that's magic that you could make that happen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's for all of us, it is.
Yeah.
To be in this field alone is such a privilege.
Oh, yeah. It's so much fun. Yeah, I feel lucky because my wife and I will talk about this, and she's like, that's like not normal that you do what you love. I'm like, really?
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, no, like you're weird, like that you are doing what you love. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just, I wasn't going to do anything else.
Yeah.
There was no B plan. There was no, like, when they made you take those tests, like in elementary, it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Exactly.
They never had like, I would just write in like cartoonist or something because I was like, that's what I want to do. And that's all I'm going to do. It's going to be in entertainment somewhere or filmmaking.
Yeah.
So there was not really, it was just like my blood. I don't know. So I love it.
No, that's so awesome. I mean, what is it? I heard that there's some director saying like, an actor it was Ben Affleck. And he said, there are only 120,000 people. There are 120,000 people in SAG. And he's like, that was a lot of people. I was actually surprised how little that was.
Yeah.
I mean, you think like in the whole world, there's 120,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's more people working for the Department of Commerce probably.
Yeah.
Or something, you know, that's like 1/3 of the employees of Citibank.
Yeah.
Like we're just in such a niche field.
Oh yeah.
A niche field with a niche field. And, it's a privilege. In fact, sometimes like when I buy some equipment for the rental shop, I'll be like, so how many have you sold all of this all years? It'd be like a matte box or something. They're like, about 10. And like from the biggest retailer in the world,
Like,
I mean, I'm like 10.
That's it.
We're like that rare.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I feel like I know everybody in the field now. Like all the major rental houses in LA, I know the head of the camera department personally and everyone. And it's not many people. Like even internationally, like even some in London and stuff.
It's like everyone knows each other.
There's like maybe 50 people with major camera departments.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway.
It's small.
But yeah, it's a small world. But anyway, VFX. So what was it like working for The Void, and explain to the audience what The Void did.
Yeah. So The Void it's a VR experience. It's a super interactive VR experience. So you could go in with like a team of 4. You'd all wear, like, we had this like haptics vest, so you could feel stuff. You'd like vibrate, and then you'd have the backpack and the helmet. And The Void would build these stages, and the stage would be mapped out to whatever level you're in. And so you could go through the levels. So everything you saw in VR, you could touch. So if there was a wall there would be a wall there.
So in a way, you're just applying the digital skin to the wall.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So we're just mapping, and then there'd be couches. We'd have props. We'd have different things.
How would you track where the person was in the room?
So we had an overhead, like a grid.
Yeah.
And we would use these, I'm trying to think of what they were called, but they were super expensive. It was like one stage I know cost just to build was like $1 million, and
Yeah.
it had all these all these trackers, so we could do live tracking, and they didn't have to have any trackers on their body, which was really cool at the way we didn't have to have like special gloves, and we did hand tracking because we had a way of tracking hands from the visor. And so no one had to wear like any tracking suits. It was really just like you wear the haptic vest, the helmet, and then you could see each other. You could interact with each other. You could pick up props. If there was props, they had trackers on it. But so it was very interactive. The ground would shake. We had wind, heat, smells, like everything. And the Void would do, what they did special was like you could be moving, and what's actually happening is the map is moving. So
Yeah.
like, so they would do this thing like an infinite hallway. What you would see is an infinite hallway, and you'd be walking down it in your vision, but it's actually you're walking in a big circle.
Amazing.
So it's the map was spinning around you as you would walk, and so it would look like you're going an infinite hallway, and you'd think you could walk forever, and technically you could, but we would redirect people, and so we'd do lots of really cool things like that, little magic tricks to like make everything look way bigger. You go in one room, you go in an elevator to the next floor, and then you're coming out the same way you came in, and we just would change like and you're just being redirected. So it felt like a big adventure. And we did stuff with Star Wars. We did an Avengers thing, Wreck-It Ralph,
Ghostbusters. So you're using a lot of Disney IP.
Yeah.
Were you in the land or were you outside the land?
We were outside. So we had downtown Disney, and then we had Disney Springs.
Okay.
And we were hoping at one point that there would be some way for us to go into the park, especially when they came out with Galaxy's Edge and gosh, they had the hotel in Florida. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, yeah.
Galactic Star Cruiser.
That would have been perfect for Galactic. Maybe could have saved it.
I know. Yeah, because they needed more things like this. So we would have been like a perfect fit for that type of like interactive. Yeah,
people have been making fun of the lightsaber thing they do. So if you did that in that such VR, it'd be a magic.
Oh yeah, and we had a whole Star Wars experience where you're a stormtrooper, and dude, it was the best. You could smell. You go to Mustafar, you could smell like burning, and you'd feel the heat, and dude, it is just like magic. It was perfect, but I think there was some mismanagement. We brought in some people, and it started getting managed a little weird, and then the nail in the coffin was COVID. COVID just killed it.
Oh, COVID killed all amusement parks, right? You couldn't be in a room.
Yeah. No one wanted to put a headset on.
Yeah.
No one wanted to, like, there was like social distancing and all that. So it just like killed the business. And it was like, by that point, they were like, yeah, we can't bring it back to life.
That's interesting. I mean, that's a really interesting. It shows how innovative it is. I mean, I have a friend from college who is an Imagineer, and they do a lot of this stuff in-house.
Yeah.
So the fact that they had an external unit doing this is pretty amazing. I'm surprised they didn't acquire the technology or something. Did that happen? Or
so there was a little bit of that. Like we worked with ILM X Labs pretty close. They have their own VR team. And so we were kind of partnered on it.
So through the Lucas division, Industrial Light and Magic.
Yeah.
But that's owned by Disney now. But not through the Imagineer part.
No, not through Imagineers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it was all like through Lucas. But then we were able to, we did a Disney accelerator thing where it was a business accelerator with them. And I think that helped us kind of get our foot in the door. Once they saw what we were doing, then they were like, oh yeah, like here, let's do Star Wars. And that one like blew everyone's mind. And then we did, like Avengers and Wreck-It Ralph. But yeah, the Star Wars one was the best one. And it was like, and for Disney it was nice because they were also making money. It's like we
how much were the tickets and stuff?
Oh gosh,
it wasn't part of the pass, right?
No. It was a separate
thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It was like $30-something per person, and it was overall like a 15-minute experience.
That's worth it though.
Yeah, and we would make like what I did is I get to work on like the videos that you would watch before you go in, because it was a whole story. And so like we would have like one of the characters from Star Wars, and we've made this whole video with him, and he would talk to you like you're about to go on a mission and you're disguised as a stormtrooper. And so I worked on all of that stuff and did all the VFX and edited. And anyway, it was just a lot of fun. And then a lot of the trailers for the experiences. So there was a lot of cool opportunities and really cool ways. Like, I mean, I got to go to ILM. It was like a dream come true. Like wandering the hallways, and I'm like,
oh, geez, that's magic. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They invented the field practically.
Yeah. So I was like, when I was there, I was like, cloud nine. I'm like, this is like amazing.
Yeah.
And it was just a really cool partnership.
Little known fact, Pixar came from Industrial Light and Magic.
Really?
Oh yeah. No, it was a spun off. George Lucas was pumping money into it, and then he didn't see a light at the end of the rainbow, so he sold it to Steve Jobs, and that Steve Jobs turned, because at first it was just a graphics computer.
Yeah.
Oh, another fun fact: the guy who founded it, Ed Catmull, and was CEO of Pixar, head of Pixar after Steve Jobs left. He's from University of Utah. He's from Utah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
rad.
Yeah. No, it's like the guys who founded Adobe, Silicon Graphics, and Pixar all came from University of Utah. They were really big in graphics back in the day.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of like, even in like 3D land, there's some things that are named like certain materials, like base materials. Anyway, it's just, this is nerdy, but it came from a professor up in University of Utah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like a lot of like original like 3D stuff even is like,
oh, I bet. I can see that. Well, in fact, and also the founder of Atari was in the same PhD program in graphics imaging at University of Utah.
Oh.
Yeah, in fact, Atari was created because he worked at Lagoon, which is a theme kind of like really Disneyland light. I mean, I don't know, it was parallel. It's an older theme park anyway.
It's like Six Flags.
Six Flags.
Ish.
It's just like a sixth of Six Flags.
Yeah.
How about that? Smaller. But anyway, he was working in the pinball machine place in this whatever sixth of Six Flags, and he's like, oh, I bet I could make a computer game at like that's like a pinball machine and make money. And so he started Atari for that. So he invented kind of video games. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So all these people came from the same PhD program within like 5 years of each other at University of Utah.
Whoa. Dude,
I know.
fascinating.
I mean, that's fascinating. Like all of computer graphics, basically.
Yeah.
So we're in the cradle of VFX right here.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. I mean, even BYU has like an amazing animation program. I'm a dropout. Bad example. I'm a dropout of college, but they have an amazing program and they make tons of great short films. Lots of talented people, and I know Pixar picks up a lot of people from BYU's animation.
Oh yeah,
because they're like, there's so much talent. I was gonna say also, fun fact: David Fincher. You know, he worked on Return of the Jedi.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was.
What? He must have been like 5 or something.
No, he was young, but like I was listening to an interview, a podcast or something about him, and he worked on that movie. He was like an artist on it. I was like, what?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So yeah,
so he's like a VFX artist.
Yeah, he did some type of VFX or something on it. Like I don't know what it was, but I was like,
well, that's awesome.
Yeah, well, fact check me. But
well, no, geez,
but I saw and I was like, what? No way. Yeah, and then he did. He worked on Return of the Jedi.
That's great.
That's
I
crazy.
love connections like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, you're doing this great VFX. So what, how did such a great thing end? That's my sadness.
Yeah. I mean, the COVID didn't help. And then there was a lot of just management things. I think it just slow. It started, I mean, it was hard because it was so expensive to build them.
Yeah, it's capital intensive and you're just trying to get $30 from somebody.
Yeah,
exactly. You're putting so much into the technology.
Yeah. And then if you're paying for like Disney, like IP, you're like paying to use it. And then they also want to make percentage of ticket sales. It just becomes like really hard to sustain that model.
Yeah. And you're managing a physical facility too. So it's not like a video game.
Yes.
So you're doing all the labor of a video game, but it can only be in 2 places.
Yeah. And it's like, so then you start trying to think about, okay, throughput, how many people can we put through at a time?
Yeah.
And then you have to have it fully staffed because for each group going through, you have people. And then anyway, there's
what if somebody throws up?
What if someone throws up?
I mean, there's really like when you're dealing with like real people in a real physical location, there's all sorts of problems.
And then there's like insurance, because we had to for a while, we wanted to do this drop floor thing. We couldn't do it because then that puts you in a different insurance. Anyway, there's just like lots of logistics and things that I think the overhead was just so heavy that eventually, and we kept trying to get funding to keep it going. But I do know that Curtis Hickman, he now owns The Void. Like after it kind of went down, he went and got it, and he's been trying to like revamp it.
So he owns the full company now.
Yeah, and he was one of the original people that helped make it, and he's like been trying to revamp it and rebuild it back and try some new strategies and different things. But we'll see what happens. But
I mean, honestly, if I were him, I would try to like market it to the military for training or something like that. I mean, something like maybe less fun, but there's more money around. Yeah. I don't know how you would do that. But
yeah, and I think VR like it. I don't know if it's taken off the way everyone almost hoped it.
Yeah, there was like a
going
VR
to.
time when Oculus first came out and bought it for $5 billion. Facebook bought it for $5 billion. It was like a lot of hype, but it's kind of not panned out as people thought.
Yeah, like I don't think people like wearing that on their face for too long. Like even 15 minutes after a while, you're like, okay, like our experience was great, but I think by the time you're like, okay, you're ready to like be done.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe some people like to do like VR chat and sit in there forever, but
yeah. Well, I think part of the problem, I read actually there's a great book on the founding of Oculus.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because partially you're seeing a physical product made with kind of a bunch of kooky people.
Yeah.
But I mean, not kooky, but they're genius. I mean, they're a lot of foresight. But I think the key problem they had is they kept wearing it, giving it to programmers, and they would programmers / gamers. They would wear it. He's like, this is it. This is the most amazing thing. But programmers, gamers are type of people who sit in front of a computer for 8 hours a day, or 14 hours a day.
Yeah,
like they have a lot of tolerance for screen time.
Yeah,
and I think, and also I'm not like a huge programmer, a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm friends with programmers though, and they tell me that programmers do have an ability to get lost in the code.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, it's kind of like something I can't do. I think that's why I've never been like a programmer, like because I know people are really good at it.
Yeah.
But they get lost in the code and they can like build words and like worlds, and the code is their world.
Yep.
And so they're kind of the exact people who are going to love VR, but it doesn't necessarily translate to everybody else.
Yeah, you definitely have to think about customers' experience. Like how comfortable is this going to be? Like, are they going to get dizzy? Are they? And I think the Void was one of the best companies that, like, because we had things you could touch, it would almost recenter you. And so we would even tell people, if you're getting dizzy, touch something. But you're right. It's like gamers, great. Like they could thrive in there. And actually from like a marketing side, we found that the gamers would like basically proselyte. They would like bring their family and friends. Yeah. Like where it's like, we need to like support them and get them excited about it. And they bring they bring mom, dad, and it was, they were really like passionate. Yeah. And they wanted everyone else to experience. So it was really cool because it was bringing like families together, and it was bringing, different types of people that maybe wouldn't have checked it out, but their brother or sister was like, hey, come check this out.
There you go.
Yeah, it was cool.
There you go. That's like the difference between Mario Kart and World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
To a degree. But
yeah. It's like a deeper World of Warcraft, so a little more deep, and then you get Mario Kart, which is family friendly.
Family friendly. You play for 15 minutes, and then you go back to playing volleyball.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, so you're at the Void, and so but it's interesting. As VR, now we're in this AI thing. Yeah. So how is AI affecting visual effects right now?
Dude, it's been just crazy, and I don't think anyone quite knows where it's going. I can only speak to like my own experience and like talking to other artists, and there's pros and cons. Like,
are they building tools in like to Unreal and stuff?
Yeah, I mean they're building like I recently have switched to like Blender. I don't know if you know anything about Blender.
No, Blender.
It's a free software. It's great, and a lot of people are building tools that like they can generate like 3D objects in Blender.
So independent people are building Blender tools.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The community, because it's free, it's open source.
Open source, yeah.
So now a lot of these 3D artists will build tools within Blender using AI. So I have one where it's like I can do a prompt to like generate an image or generate a doll, and it'll do the image, and then they'll run another thing, and then it'll generate like a 3D object. It's hard because it's like it's good, but it would never be used in Final. And I think that's...
Can you tell the difference?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Even
like,
if you show it to like your sister, like does that look different?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. If I showed someone, they're like, which one looks better? And you had someone hand model it versus this. Yeah. I believe most people would be like, it just has it just looks higher quality. Yeah. And there's some things like textures will look a little blurry, but eventually it's going to get there. It'll get better and better and better and better. But I see AI it's just another tool. It's another tool in the bag, and it's great. My biggest gripes and problems with AI is actually a lot of discussion around AI. And a good example is this. The other day, someone on Twitter was like, they put two videos up. One was the video of in X-Men First Class, like where Mystique changes from the movie. And he's like, this cost $100,000 for the shot. And then he's like, and here's this AI model that generated it for nothing. And that bothered me. And the reason why it bothered me is guys was like, well, first off, your AI generated image is using the $100,000 shot as a data set, as the reference. So it's the AI doesn't understand that this is like an effect. It's just trying to copy and paste the video. It's just trying to be, and it's not copying it perfectly, and it does a good job kind of copying it. But it's I think people are giving almost like too much credit. Like, oh, this is just going to replace all artists. And it's like, no, it's not. It like, I can't be like, now use that effect and do it on this totally different shot. It would break.
Yeah.
And so I don't like, I guess, a lot of the discussion around AI acting like it can just do everything and we don't need artists anymore to do anything. And I'm like, no, that's.
When you say it will break, do you mean it was like too brittle?
No,
or
I
is
mean,
it like it will function? The computer won't function, or it won't work like logically as a space.
Like the example they use is he was like trying to show that it like AI can do the same effect, and I was like, no, like AI by itself, if you said, hey, do effect that does this, it can't just create it. It has to have a data set or a reference, and so
and that's the controversy. Like, how much is it them just rebranding somebody else's work?
Yeah, exactly. And
like,
so
I type in make me World of Warcraft, and then it just generates World of Warcraft. It's like, is that just plagiarism?
Exactly. It's because AI is pulling from a pool. You have a pool, and it's pulling from the pool, and that pool is filled with a lot of people's art, a lot of people's like voices, like their artistic voice, and a lot of money from filmmaking and a bunch of other things.
In the past,
and so I'm like, it's kind of arrogant when someone's like, AI can just do it. And I'm like, it wouldn't do it unless you had something to draw from. So I don't like when people do it because they're trying to devalue or be like, see, we don't need artists anymore. And truthfully, I'm like, every time I've seen like a new AI video generated, I'm like, it looks cool, but then I'm like, yeah, but this would never work for Final. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's still not.
No,
like,
it's true. I mean, to me, a use I've used even like in pitching and stuff is I kind of do like thumbnails and like, this is what the character would look like, sort of. And it's just so fast.
Yes.
And it's a good way to communicate to non-creatives, like what direction you're headed in.
Absolutely. And I'm like, that's why I'm like, it's a tool. And that's why I'm like, that concept is great. Like, if you're pitching and you're not a concept artist and you're like, hey, I need some ideas, like, help me come up with something.
Yeah.
And it comes out and you're like, oh yeah, this is good. This is like kind of what I'm thinking. And you can tweak and give it a different prompt. That's great. I don't have problems with like any like that. Cause I'm like, that's just like another tool.
Yeah.
I think I hate when people are like,
that's like ripping pages out of a magazine in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of yeah. And it's like, that's fine. But the issue I have is a lot of the conversation right, is when they're like, AI bros are like, I'm an artist. I'm like, you're not an artist.
No.
Like you're like, you generated something. It's really the AI's voice. Like, it would be like my buddy and I were talking about this. It would be like someone's like, I am a puzzle master. I am the best at making puzzles. And they like, see, here's this puzzle I made. And they just bought it from a store and it was already put together. Yeah. It's like, did you put any of the pieces together? It's like, well, no, but I'm a puzzle master. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't do any of the process. It just is there. And I'm like, I don't know. To me, it's like, that's not, I'm like, art, calling yourself an artist it's part of a process. Like, as you're being a creative, you go down one road, and through the process of creativity, you might take the right road or the left road based on like your life experience, your voice, your whatever. And so to me, I think more than ever, we need more artists being confident in their voice and in their instincts and their experience. Because I think that's when you're going to get original stuff. Whereas we're seeing a lot of AI's voices and everything's going to look the same. It's just going to be like generating everyone's like, if I put an AI image down and AI image down, you're like, you don't know, it just is like another thing from AI. It's not from someone's like voice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, controversially, the Miyazaki animated AI images.
Yep.
That's,
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you didn't make like a new style.
But
there's new styles of anime.
Yeah. There's new styles, and it's like, but I would like to see. I mean, AI is cool. It's cool and it's fun. It's a great tool. For me, I'm like, yes, speed up rotoscoping. Speed up my rendering. Like, there's sometimes I'm rendering and one frame takes like 15 minutes and then I have 200.
Do you render locally or on the cloud?
Yeah. Like I'll do cloud, but cloud costs money. So it's like, so then I have to put it up and that costs money. And then you have to maybe make it not look as good. You're doing all these shortcuts so you can get it done on time. And there's just like, I'm like, why can't we just like use AI to speed up these things? Like render images way faster or at a higher quality.
It should be able to.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like we've jumped ahead to just like, here's final image. And I'm like, cool. that's not like what I want. That's cool. It looks cool. It looks great, but like I have my own vision and I want AI to help me make my vision.
To me, that's an amazing thing that bothers me about most AI tools, actually. And I feel there's room for this, is that AI tools don't give you enough control.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're like, even when you're like dictating characters, like just saying random words, you're like, no, I need a better communication. Like, give me a box just for the hair. Give me a box just for this. Give me a box just for this.
Yeah.
Because I changed one thing, then you changed something I liked.
Yep.
You know? So yeah, I think that's it. To me, I mean, this is a debate I have, is like, I mean, this happens in photography a lot. Like, because I mean, when digital cameras came out, that was like destroyed a lot of craft. You know, and they're like, I've had people like, oh no, during the time autofocus. You'd be amazed. I came into photography right when autofocus was a thing, and people were saying like, well, you can't be a photographer. But I mean, to me, it's like, is it a typewriter, or is it a typewriter? Or is it giving you the finished work? And to me, like, virtually all tools end up just becoming a more effective typewriter.
Yeah.
I mean, to use writing example, like we used to write with a quill and pen.
Sure.
And then they invented a typewriter.
Yeah.
Did that change the job of being a writer? Then typewriter to word processor. Like, no, it's just still writing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so it's the same thing with visual art.
Yeah,
Any
exactly.
sort of visual art.
Yeah, it's just another tool.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm like excited for. I'm like, I want more of these tools. For me, I'm like, great. I've used like so many different tools, and I had a project I was trying to do some rotoscoping, like cutting out some hands of those that don't know rotoscoping and masking.
Could AI make that easier? I mean,
yeah, and that's what I was hoping.
That used to be a really time consuming thing. One of the first things I learned in Photoshop was how to separate a figure from a background.
Yeah, and it still is. And I was doing these hands, and I was like, I'm gonna try some of these AI tools. There's so many cool ones. So I tried it,
and all these are just randomly made. Like this is open source software, and so the open source people, are they creating like a wave? I mean, a pathway for them?
Yeah, there's just people like creating different. I'm
just surprised the API could be involved so deeply. In the program.
Yeah,
but
for like
that's
Blender.
Open source.
Yeah, for like Blender. Yeah, you can bring in a lot of different stuff. You can like, that's different. But the particular one for like rotoscoping, I was using Runway, ML or something like that, and they have like a bunch of different tools. I was like, I'm gonna try this roto tool in here. And I spent like 2 hours and I could not get it right. It was like flickering. And I was like, what the crap? Like, I cannot get this thing to work. Right.
Yeah.
And I ended up going back to my like old school, sitting on my Wacom and like cutting out a hand and tracking it. And I got it done faster. And I was kind of annoyed. I was like, okay, I thought like this is going to be.
I thought you were going to make my life easier. Do something that makes my life easier. So it's open source. I mean, I guess, I don't know. That's a whole nother ecosystem. And stuff,
open source, like, that's like Blender is open source, so like you can see their code, and a lot of people can like build tools specifically with their programming in mind. And so the community with Blender, because it's an open source software, 3D software, it's very collaborative because you're building really nice tools in it. Anyway, but that's
interesting. And it's a standalone company. It's not owned by anything.
Blender. Yeah, no, they're just donations.
That's like the miracle of open source actually working.
Yeah.
Unlike Linux and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm going to get in trouble. But like, no, sorry. Big companies own it. They're worth tens of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
That's for Red Hat. Sorry.
Yeah.
They own Linux. There you have it.
Yep.
That's right. Sorry. Is that still open source? Oh yeah. No. So, wow. That's amazing. That's, Blender's such a good tool.
Yeah. It's a really good tool. Yeah. So I've used, like if you've heard of like Maya.
Yeah.
So I've used Maya before, the 3ds Max, Houdini, which I still use for like simulation. And then I was a huge advocate for Cinema 4D. And I would present for them at like SIGGRAPH and NAB. And most of my tutorials online were Cinema 4D, great software. But then I remember seeing on like Twitter, people posting like Blender animations and stuff coming on Blender. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, they're like, this is free 3D software. And it looked amazing. So I'm like, okay, I'll download it. I'll try it on a couple projects. And I was blown away. I was like, this software is amazing. I can't believe it's free. It's totally free. You can just go download it. And so I started playing with it, and I totally switched. And that saves me thousands of dollars a year.
No, that's fantastic. You don't have to pay those crazy high licensing fees.
So it's a great software, and the developers are like really innovative. And anyway,
what kind of system do you run it on?
So I have I have 2 PCs. One has like a 3070 RTX, and the other one has a 4090 RTX. Okay. Just one, and I can't even remember how many.
Just one card?
Yeah, just one. There's been I used to have a tower. I like at one point like ripped open the side of my computer, and I like built we had like a wood tower with a bunch of like 1080s Ti cards, all SLI like connected. And it was just like, yeah, it was overkill. So now it's like, if I have a big rendering job, I'll usually like put in the budget, like I need credits for rendering on a farm. So then I can just upload it.
Do you use AWS then? Or?
No, I don't use Amazon's. There's a couple different ones I've used before.
Yeah.
Render Fox or
Are there ones made for VFX?
Yeah.
Render
And,
Fox. Okay.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, and they're just nice because you can upload. You like package up your thing, you upload it to the server, and then it'll say how many GPUs do you want to use, and then you can just go through, and then it'll give you a cost calculator.
Really? And so what's the budget like? What can that cost?
So it depends on. So a lot of it will depend on like your sample count, and sample counts. The higher the sample count in a 3D render, the longer the time it'll take to render. But the higher the sample count, the cleaner the render is.
Yeah.
And sample count, this is it's getting super techy. But
That's fine. No, that's okay.
Yeah, but the sample count will it'll depending on material. So if I have a translucent like water or glass, I might need more samples because there's a lot more light bouncing around, and you want to reduce the noise. And then a diffused material, you don't need as many samples. So you adjust your samples. And then once you test it on your computer enough, you find like, okay, this is a good threshold of like noise that you're okay with. And then sometimes even in post, I will denoise stuff and even upscale if I have to. But so it's hard to be like, it depends. It always depends on like the render. How many objects do you have in a scene? And there's been some software. There was one software called Clarice, and it's no longer around, but it was used by DNEG. They're a huge studio, and ILM used to use it. And it's for environments, and you could do trillions of polygons, and it was amazing. And that software went away, and so now there's different software, and they all depend on the software and the sample counts. But anyway, it's just it's kind of a techie headache. But I will try to, when I'm like bidding something.
Is it like thousands of dollars, hundreds?
Oh
of dollars?
yeah, it'll be thousands.
Thousands.
Yeah.
That much that much processing power. Wow.
Yeah, and it depends like deadlines. Sometimes I'm like, okay, but I will usually be like, okay, this is a minute-long thing. I'm going to need this roughly this much. So yeah, I'll be like, I'll try to put an extra whatever. But yeah, it's sometimes we'll get like thousands for render credits because it just takes a long time.
Well, that's good. And you can't like wait forever. I mean, if you try to render on your local rig, it's going to take 2 months.
Yeah. And that's,
like
and that's why I'm like, this is again, where I'm like, I want AI. Like, this is where I'm like, this is a great place for AI to come in and help us with this stuff. I'm like, help the artist, be artistic and help us get to what we're trying to create in our mind quicker. That's great.
Yeah.
But the control is part of it. Like being an artist is, you being able to control the image and you being able to compose the image. And I think AI can help us do that quicker. I just don't want it to deliver the final image. Like, it just doesn't work. So one more story about AI and artists is I had a buddy, he worked at a major studio out in California, and his studio wanted to bring in AI artists. So they brought in like a team of AI artists.
Oh, wait. So AI artists.
AI, and I'm doing this.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Like, they're not even saying like, we're not even like VFX people. We're AI artists. We're distinct. Oh, geez.
Like, we're prompt artists.
That is annoying.
See, and that's what I mean.
I had no idea they were doing that.
Oh yeah. There's people all over Twitter being like, I'm an artist. Gosh. And then the artists come in the comments and they're just like, you are not an artist. Stop calling. And like, and I'm like, I'm sometimes there too. Like, no, you do not like, you don't.
And they just type prompts in?
Yeah, they just type prompts in. And dude,
well, I guess I'm an AI artist then. Jeez. I type prompts.
Well, that's what I mean. Anyone is.
Yeah.
And then does that mean if you type something to ChatGPT for like a legal form and it puts out a legal form, are you now a lawyer?
Yeah, I know, it's
like,
hilarious.
It's just
I've made so many AI goats in Adobe Firefly. Oh my goodness, I'm amazing. So, I'm the master of goats.
You are the
Anyway, I'm kidding. I'm the goat of goats.
They're the goat of goats.
Anyway, they're doing that.
Yeah,
oh, that is so annoying.
So yeah, in the studio they were like because they were wanting to see if like technically they were like, we don't need concept artists anymore. Let's see if we can just have AI artists come in.
Yeah.
So they had these AI artists come in. This is a story according to my buddy that worked. It was a game studio, and he said they gave him a task, the concept artist and a couple team of AI artists, and he says, "Okay, here's the task. Do this task. Make this. Here's the idea."
Yeah.
Day one, the AI artists came back and they made something that looked amazing fast. The concept artists weren't quite done yet, and then the creative director's like, okay, that's great. Now here's our notes. Here's our director's notes. And the AI is like, well, we can't take it.
Can't change it.
We can't change it. It just regenerates a whole new image. We can't. And so what ended up the happy place was, so they realized, okay, that's not the way to go. It's just hiring like prompt people. It's an artist using AI was the best result. Cause then they're like, okay, now we'll let the concept artists use AI and they know how to paint and they know how to use Photoshop and they know how to like, and when they did that, they were like, this is the way to go. It's like, it's helping them get to the result quicker, but then they can make the changes they need. They're like, oh, we have some highlights on those rocks. You need to go back there and add, oh, can you add some like volumetric rays coming in from there? And the artist could go in and do it no problem, but it just helped them get to the result quicker, but also it allowed them to have a little bit more control. So there's kind of that fine balance, but AI bros, prompt artists are not.
I just don't even know like how they even like got to that point.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I guess it's so they can charge a day rate.
Yeah.
Like a high one.
I don't know.
I hope they're not getting paid much.
But
well, again, oh boy,
dude.
Well, again, there's so much hype around AI. It's kind of like VR to a degree. I mean, but like, yeah, that like if you just put AI next to your thing, like you're a genius.
There's, sorry, there's one more funny thing that would happen that I've seen on Twitter with the AI community. So what happens is that the AI prompt artists will say, you guys are just mad that we can make art just as good as you artists, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
So and then the artists are like, well, you're stealing our work. But then the funniest part is then the AI bros will get mad if you steal their prompt. Like I've seen fights on Twitter between AI gen artists, like AI guys being like, you stole my prompt. And I'm like, so they're getting mad that you stole their prompt. Yeah. But like, you don't see the hypocrisy of like stealing artists' art. I don't know. It's just
so they show their video and they show the prompt that they do with it, and someone just takes the prompt and makes the exact same thing.
Yeah. Or there's places like I know Midjourney at this point, it was like you could see what people were prompting, and so then people would go in and find your prompts, and then they would just copy them and they'd paste them and generate basically the same thing, but you know it's never the same. But then they would get mad and be like, "That was my prompt I came up with."
Oh.
And so it was like everyone would make fun of them. Because it's just like, you guys are like mad that you're stealing each other's prompts, but you guys are like stealing art. So it's always just, I don't know. But I don't like to sound like someone that hates AI because I think it's great and I think it's a great tool. I just don't like a lot of the conversation. Like I don't like the way people talk about it.
Well, again, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a rush. Like a Sundance Film Festival had a VR component during its heyday. I don't know. Did you ever go to that? They like a little VR trade show that went along with the Sundance Film Festival. And I went to it. And I mean, it was interesting. And they were wrong. Like Voight did amazing things with VR, and in a way, like I wish that could have gotten cheaper and better. And I really think that's the path. Because the first time I put on VR goggles, I tried to like step forward, and I was disappointed that nothing changed when I did.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, that's like your instinctual thing. You're like, oh, I could look around a room with goggles, but like, this is like annoying to wear these. So it's not worth looking around a room.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I'm saying though is that. I mean, I think there's a certain value in like a new field to just stand up really loudly that I'm the master, even though you know nothing, because literally nobody knows anything.
No.
And so there's a lot of people trying to do that.
Yeah.
But 99% of them are hucksters.
Oh yeah.
And the 1% may know something, but they still kind of let on that they know more than they do. Because the truth is, nobody knows.
No one knows.
Yeah.
And we don't know where it's going. And
we don't.
It's changing so fast. Like when it first started coming out, I was trying to learn. Oh, someone made a tool. But like, I feel like every day there's a new tool. Yeah. There's a new tool. It's coming out so fast that I'm like, I can't learn this all. And then I always just notice, ironically, I've been going backwards in some weird ways. I started being like, I want to start drawing like with a pencil. Yeah. I don't know why. There was some weird, like I don't know why. Sometimes I wonder, is there going to be a swing where it's like, because everything's can be generated and look perfect, are people going to appreciate like traditional art more?
Oh, I think so. Actually.
Like, is it going to gain more value? It's like, oh, this was made by a person, and it's not made by like, it's not just like a prompt. I wonder that, you know. No,
that to me that's a great variable as far as like AI entertainment, because I mean this applies to robots. Yeah. Is then if it's AI interacting with a human, like if you're writing code and the AI code has to interact with the computer doesn't give a crap if it's written by a human or AI. They're just like, whatever, it's code. I'm a computer. But like if it's a person and they're sitting down to watch a movie, if it's AI or if it feels like AI or even if it's vague, will they accept it? And that's a big variable. You don't know.
I don't know. Like, because I think people like authenticity. I think we're kind of getting sick of like people don't like being lied to and tricked. They don't. Like, that's why even like sales and stuff, like they've been trying to use AI images in sales. And when I see an AI ad, I'm like, you're trying to scam me. I feel like it's a scam website. Especially
if you like think it's real and then like 10 seconds into it, you realize it's not. That's a bad feeling.
And I'm like, it's a deterrent. So sometimes I wonder, I could be wrong, but like, is it going to become like a deterrent where it's like people want something more authentic? Like, I don't know. Like, these are all like, I don't knows, but like,
I don't know.
I can imagine a world where people are like, man, everything looks so perfect and awesome. Why? Like, I would rather see something that's like imperfect, but it's like has like a voice. Like, you can like tell, like you can feel like the artist's emotion behind it. You can like see their intention. And that's why I'm like, I think artists need to be more confident in their voice, even if they're still finding it. But because I'm like, their voice and their creativity and their life experience actually does matter to the art. It actually matters. But I think when you see, oh man, there's all these cool images and all this cool stuff, it can be discouraging, being like, what's the point? But I'm like, I believe that there's something more than that. I think that art is like, it's a reflection of like humanity and someone's experience in life. So,
yeah. And also the thing with the medium, I mean, and this applies to everything. So like when radio was a new thing, there was like famously H.G. Wells like did War of the Worlds. And like a good chunk of people thought the world was actually being invaded by aliens, cause it's like, well, it's a new medium. This is where truth comes from. And he played on that. And I think you have the same thing. Like the first movie picture, it was a train coming towards the camera and people would jump out of the way of the train because they just weren't familiar with the medium. And I think the audience is getting more being able to be a better BS detector. And so the game just every month getting more sophisticated. Like you can't trick them with AI. Whereas like things that would trick people 6 months ago won't trick people now.
No.
And I mean, honestly, even to the point, like if I see like a celebrity doing something that just seems really weird, I just think it's like, I just assume it's AI. Even if it looks real, like, no, that's got to be AI. And so I do think that like as people get more sophisticated with the medium, as around more, we'll find a place for it in our society and a way to do with it correctly. You know?
I agree. And I think there, like you said, I think there is a good place for it. And I think it can do a lot of really good things where, we'll be able to make like things that you can imagine. And, this is why I got into like VFX is like, whatever I saw in my head, I'm like, I want to be able to make that. That's why I dove into like 3D and is like, I want to be able to, but part of it is me having that control and like being able to compose it the way I want and light it the way I want and make it feel the right way. And I think relying too much on AI can become a crutch where you're not trusting yourself. It's a quick way to not trust yourself and trust your instincts, where I'm like, no, trust your gut on like if you're lighting something and you're in 3D, or trust like when you're animating in the momentum or whatever feels right. It's like, trust that. Don't go to just like, hey, there's a new tool that can just prompt and it makes it. I feel like they're missing and that's why I keep saying that art is like, it's a process and it's like, you'll make decisions throughout it. And I'm like, AI is just kind of jumping to the very end and here's the deliverable. And it looks good. It's not like it doesn't look good. It's just something's missing, I think.
No, that's interesting. So what do you now? You're a creative director, which is higher up the creative chain. In fact, if you're unfamiliar with the field, like being creative director really is the goal. Being an art director, creative director, I don't know, the terms are kind of interchangeable. But that's one of the things I first noticed when I was working in advertising very briefly was that really the guy to be is the art director, because you're the one, or the creative director, because you're the one, everyone else is executing your vision. Essentially, and you're the one who interfaces with the suits, which has problems or whatever. But at the same time, you have the power. And so, what do you feel about being creative director? What is it like?
It's been fun. It's like it's a whole new adventure. It's a whole new. I feel like I'm like it's somewhere I wanted to move towards because I really love creating stuff. Like I love any part of filmmaking. Like I'm like I want to be by the camera. I want to direct, but I really wanted to start moving more of like a director role or like having like a vision and then being able to create it. And so this has been like a really nice step in that direction. Yes, it does come with a little bit of like you have to do the politics of like, meetings or whatever, which is fine. But I still like to get my hands dirty and still kind of like getting in the weeds and being a part of the process. But it's been a nice change. It's been nice to be like, well, here's what I'm thinking, and what if we did something like this? And you do also have to have a little bit of a marketing sense too.
Yeah.
Think about like, okay, where's this video playing? Is this going to feel right in front of this audience or this business? But it's been a nice change. Yeah.
No, that's nice. And again, like I tell people this, like, I don't know. I mean, I love being, doing I think any job in this field, as I was saying, was great. Yeah. But like when you go into a company, like say you're like in marketing, like kind of like say you're the idea person, because then you can move up the company.
Yeah.
Whereas if they just see you kind of as in the basement, the guy to shoot customer testimonials, you're not going to move up.
Yeah.
And again, like you want to move up because then you get paid more and you have more freedom and so on. But
yeah. And I like to have both. Like maybe
no, it's fine. If you can have both, that's great. But you kind of want to like, I don't know. I mean, that's a problem. I mean, I do think companies around here tend to be very sales based, and so they have a hard time understanding like kind of marketing. I mean, they're fine. They're getting a lot better now, like a lot. Like the improvement in the past 10 years is tremendous.
Yeah.
But a lot of kind of like B2B, business to business, building a relationship with person, then getting that $50,000 contract and so on. A lot of the companies. But then, in fact, even there's a major WordPerfect. I do think my personal theory, this is what killed WordPerfect, which is a major. If you don't know what WordPerfect is, before Microsoft Word, there's WordPerfect. And they had 80% of the word processing market share. They're huge. And Microsoft released Microsoft Word and only charged $90 for it. But WordPerfect was still $500 for it. And they couldn't drop that $500 because they were so dependent on their salesmen and their commission checks. And so, but Microsoft understood mass marketing and did a mass market for Microsoft Word. And even though Microsoft Word was an inferior product initially, it ended up overtaking WordPerfect. Oh. And I do think if like WordPerfect could have dropped it, matched the price and switched to a mass market, we're going to sell more copies attitude, rather than relying on selling to large law firms, which was their strength, they would have done better. Yeah. But like, because mass market, the power of like now social media marketing is tremendous, and you can reach like even this podcast reached 40,000 people.
Yep.
You know how big of a phone bank you have to reach 40,000 people in a month.
That's insane.
But we can do it with this podcast.
Yeah,
amazing.
Oh yeah, and I think to that like posting stuff online, I know like a lot of artists don't like I have lots of friends at least that are like, I don't want to post my stuff. It's not good enough. And they become very like self-conscious, or they want to keep it in, which, that's fine. But I don't know. I'm very much like, market yourself, put yourself out there. Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like they're scared that like it won't do well.
Yeah.
But just get it out there and then get the next thing out there. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, I've had, we were kind of talking about it. I've had amazing experiences. People reach out to me where I'm just like, what the crap? Because I posted stuff.
Yeah.
And like when I'm posting it, I'm not thinking anything like that would ever happen. I was purely doing it because I was enjoying it. I was like, I'm going to post these tutorials. I'm going to post my 3D work. Like honestly, most freelance that comes to me is through like Instagram, YouTube, and then some LinkedIn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but like I would say most has been Instagram, and I don't have like a huge following, but like I have 7,000 whatever. Like that's not huge, but I still get people that are like, "Hey, do you want to work on this music video?" And I've been able to work on like Demi Lovato stuff. I've been able to work on the a couple cool short films, and then other people reach out and want to network, and I'm like, it's because I posted stuff.
That's true. So, you put yourself out there. Yeah. So tell me about the J.J. Abrams story. I've seen the photo. Let's hear it. Yeah. Because this is a really great story.
Yeah, this one was crazy. So this was while I was at the Void. One day I got an email, and I'm like, and it said J.J. at Bad Robot. And I was like, what? I'm like, this is like spam or something. I open it, and it's like,
you got an email directly from J.J. That I would think that was spam right off the bat.
Right off the bat. I was like, this isn't real. And I was like, there's no way this is real. And I was like, reading it, and it was like, hey Aaron, this is JJ here, like fan of your YouTube channel. I'm learning some stuff in Cinema 4D. I'm wondering if you can answer some questions. And I was
he emailed you directly. He didn't even have his people email you. Jeez.
And so I start like look around in my coat. I'm like, who's messing with me? I'm like, did you do this? Did you? And like all of them are like, no, dead serious. I'm like, I got to reply. I'm like, but I don't want to reply and then be like, someone's like, hey,
Yeah.
So I was pretty casual. I was like, hey man, like, hey, dude.
Hey,
Like,
how's Jar Jar Binks doing?
Yeah.
And is he going to be in your next rendition of Star Wars?
yeah.
You know.
And he was finishing the last Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
I think
while you're
he
doing
was.
it,
Yeah. So I was like, is this the JJ? And he replies like, he's like, ha. He's like, yeah, this is. And then he started like talking really casually with me. And I was like, what? So I'm like, I think this might be real. And I'm like, well, what questions do you have? And he asked me a question. I was like, dude, I'll record you a video. I'll do a screen cap and I'll send it to you. So I like do that. He and I just start talking back and forth just about like stuff. And then he's like, hey, he's like, do you want to like do a meeting out in Santa Monica? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I'll have my assistant reach out to you. His assistant adds me on LinkedIn. I was like, this is real. And it was his assistant, his name at like Bad Robot.
Amazing.
Hey, JJ wants to meet with you this day. Can you make it? Booked my ticket, went out there, showed up, and I went into a room and I met his like, he had these producers. And then they're like, yeah, JJ will be in just a second. And he came in, he's like, hey, Aaron. I was like, what the crap? And so I even joked to him. I was like, dude, I thought that you were like some spam thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, dude. He's like, I get it. He's like, yeah, I like to just reach out to like people when I find their stuff. I like it. And I like to like chat with them. So he and I, like, he's like, hey, show me some of your work. And so I showed him some of my work and we chatted. And dude, he's such a nice dude, such a like genuine dude. I felt like very welcomed. And he's like, yeah, we got to work together like our own project. I was like, dude, anytime, you know. And unfortunately, we haven't. He's busy, so I didn't try to bother. You know, you don't want to like bother him, but we still stay in contact. We'll still like he'll send me a question. Hey, have you tried this?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm amazed he's touching those programs at all.
I think he just enjoys it. So
that's kind of fun.
Yeah, he's really involved in the online community. Like there's software that he's jumped on the board of. Like there's a rendering software called Octane by Otoy, and he's actually on the board of that.
Oh, really?
There was Wonder something. It was a live. It was like you'd film people and it would track their body, and you could replace it with like a robot or an alien. And and then he came in and joined the board and invested in it. So he's very like he gets very plugged into like the online community, like 3D artists, and he loves it. Like when you talk to him, he's like he loves everything about filmmaking. He's like he wants to be in the writing, he wants to be behind the camera, like he wants to like shoot sometimes. He likes making music. But the guy, like, he is such a stud, super nice. And yeah, he replies to when I send him emails, like sometimes it'll take a little bit, but he'll reply and he'll be like, yeah. And we'll just like shoot the shit.
That is amazing.
Yeah, is crazy. When I got that email, dude, I was clouding. I was like, this is not real.
Yeah.
And then when when I met him, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so weird.
No, it's funny. I mean, not that this is a terrible parallel, but like I worked on a book with Marilyn Mark. I've talked about this before, but I remember like we just would hang out and we'd talk. And then I remember one time we were talking, I was joking around, and I can't remember, it was some joke I made that was like, and like she echoed the joke and started talking to me like a witch. And I was like, I can't believe one of the greatest photographers of all time is joking about me by talking like a witch. Like, I mean, it's surreal because they're like a god in your field.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, no, they're a person who like jokes around.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so easy to like, you see him as like a god or like this thing.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, you're just like another human. And like, they're like guessing. Like, that's the other thing is like, I feel like they're just like figuring it out too. And you're like, oh, it's kind of comforting. Like, no one knows what they're doing. And a lot of it's luck, and I don't know. It's just cool. You know?
It's amazing, and I think that's the thing to remember when you're working in any field. They're like, people are people. I don't care how big they are. I don't care what they're doing. I don't care if they're the president of France or if they're the greatest artist of all time or so on. They're literally Picasso. They're kind of just people. Yeah, you know, and they're surprised. And a lot of them, especially at the highest level, I think there's like a hub. Like when you get to the greatest, they're like the nicest people ever. Yeah. Like there's kind of a middle area where they're like a little still insecure with their position. Yeah. But like when they get to like a really high level, they're like really, really normal. In fact, the main thing they want from you is for you to treat them like a normal person. Exactly. Because they hate it when people go into God worship mode. And it's just annoying to them. They're like, shut up. Yeah. You know? And it's like, I've always like gone back in my head. I'm like, maybe I should have been more professional. But maybe you're right. It's like, maybe he's like, oh, this is like nice not having someone like, because I didn't want to make him feel like I was like fanning. So, but I was just like, oh no, 100%. That's what he liked. Yeah. So I was just like, hey man, like, this is how you do it. You just click here. And then as soon as I kind of was
like casual, his replies to me were all like casual, like LOL, like ha ha ha. Like it's just like very the way you talk with a friend. It's just it was fun and it's just like relaxing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's one of my theories actually. Like so, like I even feel like it depends on how they react to fame. I mean, just in what I've dealt with famous people, but Ben Affleck is famously like close friends with Kevin Smith and would keep Kevin Smith around. And I think this interest to me, I don't know, someone on Ben Affleck or Kevin Smith's team can tell me I'm wrong, but I actually feel that like the only reason why Ben Affleck would keep Kevin Smith around because he's like the only guy who would like do a fart joke with him and like just be like normal.
Yeah.
And I think there you have it.
Yeah.
And so I do think that's it. So keep your cool.
Yeah.
Don't freak out because they really get tired of the freak out. It's the same thing like with really pretty girls. Like really hot girls, they hate it if you are like, oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, this. They hate that. It's
like
they're just like, no, talk to me normal. Yeah. That's really annoying.
Yeah, it makes them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's great. You did it. You're able to keep your cool with J.J. Abrams, and you maintain. I think it's amazing. Does VFX?
Yeah,
because it's kind of labor intensive stuff.
Yeah,
time consuming.
It's time consuming, and it's definitely like. I mean, if you're not passionate about it, you'll know quickly. You'll be like, I don't want to do this. Like, because sometimes, even though I love it, I'll be like, this sucks. Like, there's been stuff I've just been like, this is, it's
to get the vision right, and that's where you're like AI tools. You're like, shoot, I gotta do this. Honestly, in like rendering time,
it gets
even like in editing, rendering time's annoying. Like normal video editing.
But there's something like. But it's almost like baking a cake. I'll put it in the oven. Like sometimes, like I'll get something all set up, and I'll put it in the render, and then I'll go to bed. I'll wake up, and then I'm like, I can't wait to put it in Nuke and compositing software.
That's where it's satisfying.
And then I'm like playing it. I'm like, this looks rad. It's super satisfying. And then in compositing, I get to like make it look even better, and add all these other elements in. And then it's like when I'm like really happy about it, I'm like, oh, this is like I just feel I don't know. There's like something really satisfying about creating something that you're super proud of, and sometimes mine are just like these simple little shots. Like I have on my Instagram, this like dinosaur and robot fighting and they ram each other through a fence. And I'm like really proud of it. And it's like one thing that I'm like, that was really cool that I did, and I like that I have a couple of those where it's like, and then there's times where I'm like, that didn't turn out as good as I had hoped.
That's great. That is so great. Well, anyway, like, is there anything else, any question you wished I asked or anything else you want to talk about? Or I just feel like we covered a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the next, like, we talked about me going creative direct. Like, I'm actually wanting to shift more back to like my roots where it's filmmaking. I've been starting to write my own little screenplays.
Okay, that's exciting.
And I think me having that little extra skill of like VFX, as a
lot of great animators become directors.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah,
doing the whole thing.
So that's kind of my next little journey. Is I'm gonna hopefully do short film and utilize play to my strengths. See what happens.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're a really smart guy, and I think you can do anything. I'm a big fan. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you.
So anyway, I forgot to say this beginning. It makes a difference. First of all, like and subscribe this video because freak, just do it. We get so many views and we want more subscribes.
Yeah, guys.
And the other thing is, I've yet to be sexually harassed on this podcast. And it's beginning to bother me. So if someone wants to ask what my ad is or wonder if I have an OF page or something like that in the comments, it'd make me very happy.
Come on, guys. Do more.
We think we've hit a world of equality, but 40-year-old men can't be harassed on the internet.
He needs to be objectified.
I need to be totally objectified. You can deep fake me. Oh gosh, now I'm getting in trouble. Don't do that.
Objectify Mark. He needs it.
You deep fake me and then make an OF page. Oh my goodness, that'd be hilarious. 40-year-old men should be sexually harassed on the internet too.
Yeah.
It's not just for 18-year-old girls.
Equality.
Thank you. Equality. Anyway, like and subscribe. Thank you.